Welcome to Small Business Celebration, and we're in Hawthorne, California today at a fantastic learning place, a nonprofit that is run just like a business. This is Small Business Celebration. Welcome, where we're celebrating small businesses for big breakthroughs. Welcome to Small Business Celebration, and our guest this week is Ed Lynch, the founder of Mychal's Learning Place. Welcome to Small Business Celebration.
It's good to be here, Mychal.
For visionaries who don't know who are you, and what is it that you do?
My name is Ed Lynch. I'm the founder of Mychal's Learning Place. We're in our 21st year. We're a local nonprofit in Hawthorne. We started off providing after-school programs for special needs kids, added some adult programs that provide job training and independent living skills, and then our social enterprises, which is really the direction the organization is going. We have a commercial bakery on site, we have a t-shirt printing and embroidery business, and we have a cafe at Torrance Memorial Hospital. The students are doing all the work, and it's about the students.
The reason we're talking with Ed today is because, well, I get a lot of requests to interview nonprofits, and most nonprofits who come to our doorstep basically come with their hand out. You, Ed, have a very different approach here at Mychal's Learning Place. First of all, what is the reason for Mychal's Learning Place?
So I started Mychal's Learning Place in honor of my daughter. Mychal had passed away 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So she would be 32 if she was here today.
By the way, how do you spell Mychal?
Mychal.
Okay.
And no, we did not want a boy. And because a lot of people, I think, assume because of the name Mychal.
Right, sure.
And so when she was here, there were really no programs I, as her parent, would have felt comfortable dropping her off at. The kind of needs that she had, the lack of language, fine and gross motor skills. So I committed my life to creating programs of somewhere a place she would be and feel comfortable and loved.
But you didn't start Mychal's Learning Place just, I'm 27 years old, I think I'll start a nonprofit. What did you do before that in the private sector?
Well, I've always been kind of entrepreneurial. I do better as the leader than a follower,
right.
Particularly if there's no respect there from your supervisor. And so I had a janitorial business for a while. I managed some properties in Santa Monica for a while. Did whatever I had to do to pay the bills.
And at one point, you decided you had enough.
About 6 months after my daughter had passed, I was given an opportunity to run an after-school program. Same population, same group of individuals. And I did that for about 5.5 years. And the valuable lessons I learned there is you don't work for somebody like that, and get your priorities in order. As a nonprofit, it's set up a certain way for a reason.
Right.
And you need to stick to that. You need to stick to the vision and the mission, because that's really what drives the organization at the end of the day.
And now we get into why I really appreciate what you're doing. Because you're teaching life skills for these students, and you're doing it through a kitchen. And those services, those products and services that revenue generated comes back into
Correct.
Mychal's Learning Place. Right. It becomes a steady revenue stream.
Right.
Why is that the direction that you're planning to expand further and actually doing it?
With a lot of nonprofits, we're always with our hands out. We're always looking for a donation to keep our doors open.
Right.
And it's important to have those resources. And there are so many nonprofits that need the support to do that.
Right.
I don't want to be so dependent on government funding that one day if they cut their funding, I'm closing my doors because I didn't plan appropriately and accordingly, right? And so in 2008, when that happened, that's what happened to a lot of the organizations. They were solely dependent on the government support. I don't want to do that. I would say the first 8 years or so, we were at 93 to 98% of our funding came from the state. So can you imagine if they cut off our funding then? We wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation.
So when the state of California starts sending you IOUs instead of
a check,
yes, it becomes a problem.
Yes, right? So how do you address that? You diversify your funding stream as a nonprofit, right? So you have your foundation support, your corporate support, your individual donors, which really will keep those organization open for a lifetime, because that's where most giving comes from, is from individuals.
Right.
And the reason we started the social enterprise is we were having difficulty finding work partners here in Southern California to provide job training opportunities for our students. And so that's how the bakery started. The bakery was the first social enterprise to start. It just started off by making cookies.
Right.
Just started making cookies. And then we started bringing in barista service. And we hired a young lady that had cafe experience, barista service experience, who could take that model, because I'm not a barista.
Right.
I don't know anything about coffee business other than I like to drink coffee.
Sure.
And so if you have somebody on staff that knows about the business, then you can create the business model. And that's what we did with the coffee business, where we would pop up at Mychal Toys in El Segundo, California, 4 days a week at both locations selling baked goods and coffee for 3 hours a day in the afternoons. And that creates that community awareness. It creates that the individual learns what our students are like, that they're just like you and me. Someone attached a label to their name, and because Johnny has autism or Down syndrome, he's a certain way. No, he's Johnny.
Right.
He's just Johnny. And if you give Johnny the skills and the tools, you support him, you throw him into the fire, Johnny will surprise you. Not even surprise you. You know Johnny's got it in him. And now he's had the support to get it done. And that's what it's about at the end of the day. Social enterprise, paying our bills, is one thing. Creating that community awareness, because we can't hire all our students. We're not that big to get to the point where we can employ them all. So how do we do that? We provide them with the tools to be gainfully employed, and a lot of the skills they learn in the cafe, the bakery, the print shop are all transferable to other jobs. Social appropriateness, hygiene, all those things we don't think about. I can get you a job, Mychal. The question is, are you able to keep the job because you have all those other skills to keep it, right? How the print shop came to be is I was at the Lakers training facility in El Segundo, California.
Right.
And they had their ribbon cutting at the new facility. Mm-hmm. And I walked in, and they took your picture at a step and repeat. And then while you're in the event, they printed your face on a mug,
right,
a Lakers mug,
right,
with your face on it.
Right.
Like, I'm thinking, okay, do I really want to drink from a mug that's got my face on it? It does make much sense. The Lakers mug would be fine. But what I got from it is I watched the process of what they were doing. I said, we can do that. I mean, it's such a simple process to make mugs.
Right.
Within the next 2 weeks, bought the equipment, was not expensive, and we integrated it into our adult program. So we made it a regular part of the adult program, is how to use this equipment. And back to finding the individual to run the coffee business, Jose, who's been with me 9 years, started in the after-school program, runs my print shop. Mm-hmm. His side hustle, printing shirts and doing mugs.
There it is.
So 4 years ago, 5 years ago, the printing idea takes off. Mm-hmm. I've got somebody with experience. Now, mind you, he doesn't know everything about all the equipment, but he's motivated, he's capable and able, and he's taken the leadership of that. I don't know how to print a shirt. I don't know how to do embroidery. I don't want to learn how to do that because I want somebody else to do it when I'm not here. So it's another model of a business that works. The beauty of the t-shirt printing and direct-to-garment business and embroidery is companies need it, right? So some of our biggest clients have been Northrop Grumman, Chevron, Kinetica, Federal Credit Union. And if they're going to buy a shirt anyway, why wouldn't you buy one from us that's providing job training for our students? If you were to come to our print shop, Mychal, and you'd watch the t-shirt printing going on, it's direct to garment, it's not silkscreen, you would see the students doing the work. You're not going to see staff, you're going to see the students doing the work. That's what it's about. It's not this token approach to the special needs population. They are capable and able. James runs the print shop equipment. He's been an employee of Mychal since December 2021, and it's amazing to watch the process. That's an expandable business. That's a scalable business. That's a business that can fund us long term and our growth. I see social enterprises keeping our doors open 5 years from now, 10 years from now, where if government funding goes away, we can just wave goodbye and not worry about it.
If visionaries want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Well, it depends on how they want to get in touch
Sure,
and what
sure.
they want done, right? So
Right.
do they want to hire a print shop? Do they want to think about maybe partnering with us and the print shop?
Right.
The best way would be go to mychals.org. So it's www.mychals, again, mychals.org. And then there's a link there for the print shop. There's a link there for the bakery. There's a link there for general information about who we are and what we do in the history of Mychal's. But there's also, as a nonprofit, there's a donate button, so people can do that as well.
And just so you know, Visioneers, this very attractive and very handsome home run entertainment mug is a product of Mychal's Learning Place. And if you enjoy a small business celebration, go ahead and like, subscribe, and notify. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the viewpoint of a board member and how do you help your organization make the shift from strictly donations to something that helps the private sector. When we come, right back. The winter season is rapidly approaching, but are the tires on your car or truck ready for wet weather? Bakersfield's best tire store, Claru Tire, has been serving families like yours for 80 years and installs and services the tires your family depends on when the wet weather comes. Give Claru Tire a call at 661-324-6069 and ask them about what tire works best for you and your budget. Call Claru Tire at 661-324-6069 or visit them at 530 East 21st Street in Bakersfield or at clarutire.com today. The wet winter weather is rapidly approaching. Call Claru Tire at 661-324-6069 today. I'm here with Ed Lynch, the founder of Mychal's Learning Place, and our visionary question comes from Ben, who asks, I'm on the board of a great charity and I want them to grow for the long term. How do I determine which products and services my charity should do in order for them to become sustainable beyond donations and grants?
That's a really good question, particularly when it comes to nonprofits, right? So I think a lot of it depends on the structure of the nonprofit. We're in a unique position to do what we do and why we've gone down the path we've gone down. I know other nonprofits that have done products that they try to sell, typically online, maybe in the community as a fair or things along those lines. But to sustain an organization requires a lot of resources, right? If we compared our bakery with our print shop, you have to sell an awful lot of cookies to create the kind of revenue you can make from one t-shirt selling or one embroidered polo, right?
Right.
So what direction would you say I go in? Right. Clearly it's the print shop, right? We know, and that's the kind of, again, a scalable business can be put in other communities where there's a need.
I would also tend to think that the choice of product or service would depend upon the kind of resources as far as personnel you have at hand, because the people that you have may not be sufficiently able or qualified to do other things that could be sold.
Right. So again, as the print shop started to grow, we needed somebody at Jose's level. Right. So if Jose's out sick, we don't close the print shop. Jose wants to spend time with his family during the week, we don't have to close the print shop. It took us about 7 months to find somebody. And he just happened to walk into the building one day. Lived down the block, was curious and interested on a Friday, came in, introduced himself to Jose, came back the following Tuesday, interviewed and hired. Great guy, he could run the print shop just like Jose does. A little bit of luck, right? And because I'm not a complacent person, and you'll never catch me just like, okay, I've done enough. It's time to I'll just collect the check. That's not who I am. The day that happened is the day I leave. Right? And so we had started a couple of other projects that we thought could be a source of revenue. One of them was car washing. Not detailing, but washing. So go to a local business, set up a car wash, and this is something organizations can do. The problem is it took about hour and a half, 2 hours for 3 students and 1 staff to wash a car. And if I want to pay,
not exactly efficient, no.
So if I want to pay my students, I mean, are you going to give me $100 to wash the car? Right? So, but what we learned from that, again, are life skills. Everything is an opportunity to learn, right? So now Johnny learned how to do a lot of the skills involved with washing a car. Now Johnny should be helping the parents wash the car. Just because he has a disability doesn't mean he can't do something. We don't know until we try. The next project, which one of my board members, Jerry, former board members, he would have a good laugh about this one. And we made cat structures, cat trees. I reached out to My wife works at Mychal and reached out to one of the designers, and they created a cat structure like an IKEA product. Breakdown, goes into a box this thick.
Right.
So 18 by 18, 4 inches thick. There's your tree.
Easily send that off in UPS.
Absolutely, if you had a customer.
Right.
And if being the keyword. If being the keyword. And so we're off to the races. A furniture company, Modernica, based out of downtown Los Angeles, they donated all the plywood scraps. So we're keeping that out of the landfill. A company called IRS down in, I think it's in the city of Bell, California, donated all the carpet scraps. Some products we did have to buy, but they were pretty cool. So
Right.
Johnny learned how to use a chop saw. Johnny learned how to use a nail gun. Johnny learned how to put these things together and package them. The problem is it's not a really big market for those when you can go on some of these big box stores
Right.
and pick one up for next to nothing.
Right.
So what we ended from that was we had this great table runner that had a logo for the cat structures. That was wonderful. And yeah, so we let that one go.
Oh, sure.
And Jerry would laugh at me because I was gung-ho about it. And again, they learned some valuable skills.
Right.
And
And you have 6,000 of them still in a warehouse
no,
somewhere.
those things are long gone. Those things are long gone. That's a memory, but that's okay. So the
Right.
point being is, if there's a nonprofit that has a gardening program,
Right.
why can't you sell your goods to local restaurants? Why
Right.
can't you sell your herbs to local restaurants? So I think it's just thinking outside the box.
Right.
Anything is possible, right? And do I want my organization to be here, like I said, long after I'm gone? Yes.
Right.
Do I want it to be dependent on government resources to keep my doors open? No. So back to the question about what the board member can do. The board member can reach out to the community. He can bring people into that organization and talk to them about what the organization does. That's how you grow support. That's how you get the individual donors. There may be an opportunity that comes along from a local business owner that wants to partner with you.
Right. Or one of the board members themselves may have
Absolutely.
a resource or three.
Absolutely.
After all, that's why you have board members,
Right.
is for
Right.
resources.
I mean, if you work with, kids in foster care that are transitioning out, why not create a business that they can do?
Right.
Right? They could do a print shop. They
Right.
could do a print shop down the block from us. Props to you.
Right.
Right? But I think anything is possible.
Just out of curiosity, what businesses did you own before?
So before I started Mychal's, and I managed some properties in Santa Monica and on the west side of California, Los Angeles, California. And so I did that, and then I had a janitorial business. What started off as doing small little homes and weekly customers turned into a new construction cleanup,
Nice.
projects that were built. Again, it was about having my free time and
Right.
having my time and me having control over that time. And so when my daughter was here, the cleaning business allowed me to be home when the school bus came,
Nice.
right? And I remember when she was here, and I tell a couple of stories about my daughter, and because she lacked in the fine motor skills, when we played Barbies, I played Barbies. I sat there and I did all the things that little girls do with their Barbies. I cross-dressed them, I got them married, I cut their hair, I did all of this stuff
Right.
because she couldn't do it. And so there was that there. And I remember I was doing some work in the front of the house while she was taking a nap or something like that. And I'm thinking, what do I need to do with my life? What am I supposed to be doing? And at that moment, it was to be in there with her. It wasn't to be doing anything else, right? And the opportunity came along to start Mychal's or to work for another organization. And then when it became obvious for me to start Mychal's, I knew it was the right thing to do. And let me tell you a quick story. There was an organization out of Culver City, California that I wanted to partner with. I wanted them to umbrella me as a nonprofit till I can get my own 501c3 and do this on my own. And I met with their board twice. First time, question and answers, wanted more information. The next board meeting, I came down. Now, mind you, I've been associated with that organization since 1988. Special needs group, works with adults. And when they decided at the end of the meeting, the second meeting, they did not want to partner with me, which kind of floored me because I'd known them for so long. And I remember before I went home to just kind of vent, I went to Home Depot in the marina and I just walked the aisles at night. and my mind is processing it because I didn't want to bring this frustration home. And I had this literal stabbing pain in my lower back. And when I made the decision to do this on my own, like that, the back pain went away. To me, it was obvious. I've had people tell me I would never get Mychal's off the ground without their help, but they didn't want to help. So here we are today, and I love that organization that I worked with before, but they're in a box. I'm not in a box. I don't function in a box. As most business owners don't, I don't function in a box. And I want that freedom to grow, which every business wants, right? And so by being the founder, I have that ability to kind of create, and my board supports the vision and my future growth. Because, we have a capital campaign, which was to buy the print shop. Now it's to get a space to have our own cafe, brick and mortar cafe that we own. And, they were working on a timeline, and one of my board members, God bless him, he's putting together the timeline, and then he adds, after the cafe is already purchased, what's next?
Right.
Because there'll always be something else, or it's time to walk away.
Do you still have your daughter's Barbie dolls?
No. So she had a lot of cousins, and a lot of those were passed on. I do have her old Cabbage Patch doll. I have her walker. There's a lot of things I still have of my daughter. Yeah. She's with me every day. Yeah.
And we'll be right back. The reason we're here talking with Ed Lynch, the founder of Mychal's Learning Place, is because of support from visionaries like you through our Patreon page. Simply go to patreon.com/small business celebration, and your support allows us to go ahead and grow the Visioneer community. So go to patreon.com/small business celebration and show your support for Visioneer Nation today. I'm here with Ed Lynch, the founder of Mychal's Learning Place, and our Visioneer question comes from Anna Ray, who asks, I'm trying to educate my board member colleagues that offering products and services over donations is the best path to long-term sustainability. What did you do to convince your board and executive directors that this is the best path to take?
When I first approached the board about any of the business ideas, it's about creating awareness and raising revenue for the organization.
That's the key,
That's
raising
the key,
revenue.
Right. And if I want the organization to be around for a long, long time, we're in our 21st year right now and 50 years to be here, how are we going to do that, right? So if we have control of our own destiny, right, and our financial destiny and our well-being, how do you do that? You either continue to ask for donations, you continue to do, your rubber chicken events, which we raise a lot of money at ours, because we need that revenue.
Right.
But if you have a product design, a product idea that society and the community needs, not a novelty, and then you have to think about what's the kind of revenue that's going to come in to keep, what do I need to keep my doors open?
Right. Is it a product that's going to end up in the trash can at the end of the night?
Right. Is it a candle, right? Which are great. It's a wonderful small business. You have to sell a lot of candles to fund an organization.
Right.
So when we started the print shop, more so than even the bakery, when we started the print shop, we run it as if it's a for-profit. And the money is go back into our organization as a nonprofit. So the financial responsibility and accountability is we're a nonprofit.
Right.
Print shop's a nonprofit. But if I want growth and sustainability, we have to continue to grow it as if it's a for-profit.
Is the structure of your organization such that the print shop has its own manager, has its own staff, they have their own budget, they have their own P&L, they have everything that a traditional business has that goes through and allows you to report back to you and the board as to the print shop's performance?
Absolutely. And that one even more so. I mean, the cafe and the bakery, those two kind of go together.
Right.
The print shop, because I see the vision 5 years from now, better to start off now doing it correctly and learn when there's minimal mistakes to be made, risks, right? As opposed to, let's just let's develop what it should look like. No, we've got a plan in place that we're continuing to work on and develop. So when we do find a community partner out there that works with the same population, they have to work with the same population for us to duplicate this, then we have everything in a binder. It's not reinventing the wheel 5 years down the line.
You're creating a process.
Yeah, so
A system.
Yeah, system.
Boy, that sounds like a business.
Efficiencies. It's all about efficiencies and what can we do better. And we are constantly looking in every aspect of Mychal's Learning Place and all our programs, social enterprises, what we can do better
Right.
and more efficiently.
Now, I have to ask because I went into your office while we were getting ready for the show, and I saw a counter full of gumball machines. Okay. What's the story behind that? Because some of them are classics. There's no way you can find them.
They're all classics.
Okay.
Excuse me. No, I don't like the fake what do they call them? Retros, reproductions. I
Right,
don't like
okay,
the fake
sure.
reproduction gumball machines. What started off is I had one of my clients, a cleaning client, they had one on the stand.
Right.
That's the one I wanted. That was my very first machine.
Right.
My second machine is we had the big earthquake in 1993.
Right.
And I was driving down 7th Street in Santa Monica, California, and I saw this one machine on the side of the road at a yard sale. And I bought it for $15. Things worth probably $400 now.
Right.
And that became my thing to collect. And things would come along. I'd get birthday gifts. My wife, what do you want? Well, you can't go wrong with a gumball machine. But just don't get me one of the fake ones.
No, it's got to be the real thing.
I don't want the fake ones. And so that's kind of how it all started. So the ones you saw in my office, I think there's maybe 12 in there. And then I've got about 3 or 4 more at home that aren't the kind I'd want to display.
Right.
Yeah.
What have you learned from collecting gumball machines that you apply here to Mychal's Learning Place?
I collect them because I want to do them. And I want to collect them. Not that I want to do them. I want to collect them. But also, it's my space. It's my office. My staff can do whatever they want to do in their offices. You want to hang up blacklight posters, you go for it. That nothing's going to stop me. My wife would tell you that I don't see barriers, right? So you had asked earlier, for other businesses that are maybe struggling and trying to figure out what to do and how to move forward. I'm not an expert at it by any means. All I know is what I've done.
Okay.
And what I've done is I refuse to say I can't. I will adjust if I have to. I will pivot if I have to. Those other 2 little businesses we tried to start didn't work out. Now that could have just stopped me from creating, but if anything, you learn from that.
Right.
What does make more sense, cat structures or printing t-shirts?
But also, it's being able to discern, I want the real gumball machine. I don't want the fake reproduction.
Right. So unfortunately, I don't have the budget for the really expensive ones.
Right.
It'd be like people collecting watches.
Right.
Do I want to collect a $30 watch, or would I love to have an old antique watch with
Right.
leather strap and the beautiful face and a Rolex? I don't have the budget for that. So
Right.
you adjust to what you have. I love those. Probably will not get any more gumball machines.
He says no.
I'm lucky enough to have a space that's big enough to accommodate those.
Right.
But you're right, I do say that now. Yeah.
Having a successful nonprofit for 21 years, you're bound to have somebody that is going to walk up with bright eyes and bushy tails and excitement and say, I want to start my own nonprofit organization. And you tell them, great, just don't do...
Just don't quit.
Okay.
I mean, if you want it enough and it's in your heart, right? I mean, if you want something bad enough, you do whatever it takes to get there, right? I mean, if we had this conversation 15 years ago, I don't know if we'd be in the position we are, right? But opportunities, one of my board members used to say there's luck in everything. And there is luck in everything.
Right.
We've been put in certain situations that I'm just blown away by because people want to support, people want to help. And so if you've got an idea, just make it happen and don't be afraid to ask for help. People think we have to do it all ourselves. We do not have to do it ourselves. Again, we would not be here if I tried to do it all myself. If I was in the weeds with everything, we wouldn't have started the social enterprises because I'd be in the weeds with program stuff.
If visionaries around the country and around the world want to get in touch with you and support Mychal's Learning Place, how do they do that?
Well, through our website, first of all, www.mychals.org. You can also reach out to us and we can have a conversation, and that main number is 310-297-9333. We've gotten donations from all over the world. Individuals want to help and want to support what we do.
And what kind of a donation? Is this just a cash donation?
So cash donations are great. We've had people donate cars and stock. Somebody has a building for a cafe in the South Bay part of California. Hey, we're here waiting for you. Nonprofits, we have to be open to whatever somebody wants to donate.
Right.
And if it makes sense for the organization and doesn't conflict with the work that we're doing, we openly accept those donations with open arms.
And I'll be right back with my final thoughts. The winter season is rapidly approaching, but are the tires on your car or truck ready for wet weather? Bakersfield's best tire store, Claru Tire, has been serving families like yours for 80 years and installs and services the tires your family depends on when the wet weather comes. Give Claru Tire a call at 661-324-6069 and ask them about what tire works best for you and your budget. Call Claru Tire at 661-324-6069 or visit them at 530 East 21st Street in Bakersfield or at clarutire.com today. The wet winter weather is rapidly approaching. Call Claru Tire at 661-324-6069 today. Necessity is the mother of invention. One of the things I really enjoyed about our guest this week here on Small Business Celebration is the realization that he had to diversify the revenue streams coming into Mychal's place. And here we are in January, the month of reinvention and growth. This is the month where we start implementing the ideas and the thoughts and the plans that we made last quarter into the new year. And where we also think about, okay, how do I go through and diversify the revenue coming into my business? What can I do to help make my business stronger and healthier moving forward in the new year? After all, necessity is the mother of invention. I hope you enjoyed our conversation this week with Ed Lynch, the founder of Mychal's Place, and I hope you join us next week where we celebrate more small businesses for big breakthroughs. And we'll see you here again next week. By the way, before I forget, I like to start with a dad joke. So, a priest, and how do you prevent a priest, a minister, and a rabbi from winning a limbo contest?
I don't know.
Have them walk into a bar.
I had a feeling it was going to be something with alcohol. I almost said something about alcohol.
There you go. Welcome to Small Business Celebration, and our guest this week is Ed Lynch.
I see social enterprises keeping our doors open 5 years from now, 10 years from now, where if government funding goes away, we can just wave goodbye and not worry about it.
Wow.
I told you I can go off, and you've got to kind of rile me in if you need to.
No, there's a lot to use there.
I was going to say, you run out of disk space already?
Not a short answer.
Yeah, there's no short answers with Ed.